PCWizKid here with the recommendations on building a mainstream high-performance PC in 2018. Today we're doing a Intel build. In part 1 I did an AMD build. If you want to watch that, click right here right now. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about how and what I'm using here for an Intel build. Now, you got to restrict yourself, hold back, because you can go crazy and spend lots of money if you start, getting 16 gigs of memory, getting the latest CPU. You can get carried away and easily spend over $1,000, no problem, maybe $2,000, depending on what you get. So we're running with some assumptions here. Assumption number 1, we're using an Intel Core i5 or i7 CPU, 4 cores, maybe 6 at most. You're going to be running things at 1080p, right, mostly, in HD, obviously, with medium to high graphics, and you're limiting yourself to 1 or 2 hard drives, okay? You're not going to go crazy here and install all kinds of SSDs and start ramping up the cost of everything. And, of course, you're using the built-in network that comes on the motherboard, and you're not getting any additional support for Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and things like that, which would, increase the cost of your PC. And rule of thumb here, you always get the last year's model of the Intel CPU. Never go for the latest and greatest if you're starting to save money, right? And you could think about whether you want to use the integrated GPU that's on the processor or get a standalone GPU if you're trying to get a little bit more processing power out of your graphics card. And memory, like I said, we're sticking to 8 gigs. We're not doing some heavy video editing and graphics editing and stuff like that, so 8 gigs is good enough. And you're using maybe one SSD drive or combo, trying to get things down in price, okay? Now, when it comes to lowering your price, an Intel Core i5 7500 CPU, $200. There you go. Now, today I'll be using the 7700K. Why? Well, because I'm trying to future-proof myself a little bit, trying to get the most power. Maybe I'll do overclocking in the future. For now, I won't. And that's, a kind of like a sweet spot right there, to be honest. And you can get different combinations of CPU with the motherboard and memory, or CPU with memory and cooler, and I'll add the links below to even save even more money. So the 7700K has some combos, some deals. The power supply, 550 watt is good enough. I'll be honest, you don't really need a 700 watt power supply or higher these days. Power, processing power is not as intensive and power hungry as it used to be. Same thing with graphic cards these days. They use less power than they used to, so you don't need a really hungry system with all this intensive power coming from that power supply. Stick to something that's lower. And when it comes to the liquid cooling, well, again, I'm going to future-proof myself here, so I'm going to get a Master Liquid Light 120 for $50 as opposed to the air cooling, just in case I want to do some light overclocking on this Gigabyte board in the future. Now, like I said, you want to save money, go for the air cooling, but it's it depends on what you want to do, right? 8 gigs of memory, good enough. Like I said, if you're going to go for 16 gig, well, that's double. Memory isn't cheap these days, so keep that in mind. You're trying to save money. 8 gigs, good enough. You're not doing video editing and graphics and stuff like that that requires a lot of memory, so 8 gigs is good. And moving on to the motherboard, like I said earlier, I found some deals that you can get the CPU and motherboard combo to save even more money as opposed to buying separately the board and the CPU. So depends on what you want to do. Obviously, buying things separately, then you get what you want as opposed to being restricted to what the combos give you. But if you're interested, I'll add all the links to everything down below in the description, so that way you can get directly to the latest pricing on all of these components, okay, if you're curious. Like I said, maybe you just want a 480 gigabyte SSD from Kingston. That'll be great. Boot up the system fast, and you get plenty of space in there to do all the basics and install all your apps and games. Cases, well, they hover around the $50 mark. These are the cases that I use from Cooler Master, the Master Box series. And to give you a rough idea on some pricing, here are some approximate amounts, by the way. These are approximate amounts from these different components that you could find. So roughly about $970 US, give or take. Prices go down considerably, especially if you buy things in combos. You can get it for $900 or even less than that, okay? So comment below, let me know what you think. Please thumbs up on the video. If you found deals, leave them in the descriptions for others to take advantage. I'll add all the links as well down. And again, thank you for watching.